There are certain men who move through the world without noise, men who don't announce themselves, yet somehow their presence shifts the atmosphere around them. They aren't loud, they aren't overly expressive, but something about them feels grounded, intentional, quietly powerful. These are the Sigma males. And what makes them interesting is not the image that people project onto them, but the subtle talents they carry. Talents that most overlook because they aren't wrapped in arrogance or theatrics. Spend enough time around one, and you begin to notice it. The way he listens more than he speaks, the way he observes without judgment, and the way he adapts without losing himself. It's easy to call this a mystery, but the truth is much simpler. These men understand themselves deeply. Their power is not in dominating a room, but in understanding the silent mechanics of human behavior, the rhythms of solitude, and the structure of their own inner world. Many misunderstand them as distant, aloof, or detached. But the Sigma male is none of those things. He is simply a man who refuses to be rushed. He moves at the speed of clarity. He speaks when there is meaning. And he invests his energy with intention rather than impulse. And as the world becomes louder, faster, and more chaotic, the Sigma male's approach becomes even more intriguing. His strengths are not theatrical. They are internal. They are measured. They are subtle. But they are also rare. And because of that, they carry far more value than people realize. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on these overlooked strengths. These are not the common traits you hear about all the time, like independence, confidence, or self-reliance. These are the quieter talents, the hidden abilities that Sigma males naturally develop simply by being who they are. Some of these may surprise you. Others may explain why people are drawn to them, even when they don't try. And a few may reveal aspects of yourself that you never fully understood. So take a moment. Slow down. Let your mind settle into the pace of this conversation, because what you're about to hear isn't just a list of traits. It's a deeper understanding of why Sigma males move through life the way they do, and why their presence feels so uniquely powerful. Number one, the talent of silent pattern recognition. Sigma males notice patterns in people, environments, and situations long before others even realize there is something to observe. This isn't because they're suspicious or paranoid. It's because their minds are naturally tuned to subtle signals. While most people focus on what is loud, obvious, or socially emphasized, the Sigma male pays attention to the quieter streams of information that reveal the truth beneath the surface. He watches how people move when they think no one is paying attention. He recognizes shifts in body language, tightened shoulders, nervous hands, forced smiles, wandering eyes. These small cues tell him more about a person's intentions than their words ever could. A slight change in tone, a pause that feels out of place, or a repeated inconsistency in someone's story becomes a clue. Not because he is looking for deception, but because he naturally notices what others ignore. In social situations, the Sigma male becomes an observer long before he becomes a participant. He scans the environment, senses energies, identifies power dynamics, and reads emotional currents with uncanny accuracy. This allows him to adapt, withdraw, or engage with strategic precision. People assume he is quiet because he is shy, but in reality he is gathering data, processing behaviors, identifying patterns, and making conclusions without needing to interrogate or confront anyone. He rarely calls people out. Instead, he stores the information silently, adjusting his expectations and boundaries accordingly. His conclusions are rarely wrong because they come from patient observation rather than emotional reaction. Over time, this creates an almost sixth sense where he can predict someone's next move long before they make it. This quiet perceptiveness is one of the Sigma male's greatest strengths. It protects him, guides him, and allows him to navigate the world with a level of awareness few people ever develop. Number 2, the talent of solitude-based creativity. Left alone, their creativity doesn't just surface, it expands. For individuals wired like this, solitude acts as a catalyst, not a constraint. When the noise of the world fades, when expectations fall away, and when no one is watching or interrupting, their mind unlocks its deepest layers. Ideas begin to form organically, rising from the quiet corners of their inner world. This is where their true brilliance lives. Not in meetings, not in group discussions, not in rooms where voices compete, but in the private stillness where imagination can breathe. While others rely on collaboration to spark innovation, they thrive in internal brainstorming. They don't need external stimulation to think creatively. Their thoughts generate their own sparks. Their mind functions like a quiet workshop, where concepts are analyzed, refined, reshaped, and elevated without external pressure. Left to their own process, they arrive at insights most people would never reach in a crowded room. Their clarity sharpens, their intuition strengthens, and their mental energy flows without interruption. Group pressure has the opposite effect. It drains them, distracts them, and pushes their thoughts in directions that feel unnatural or forced. In collaborative settings, the loudest voices often overshadow the brightest ideas. But in solitude, there is no competition, only depth. They can explore unconventional angles, challenge their own assumptions, and follow the trail of an idea without being rushed by collective expectations. This is why their best ideas are born in silence. Their creativity thrives when they have the freedom to think slowly, deeply, and independently. For them, solitude isn't isolation. It is an environment where imagination is free to roam, where intuition finds its voice, and where their true intellectual strength reveals itself. In quiet moments, they don't just think better. They become who they are meant to be. Number 3, the talent of non-reactive thinking. Instead of reacting on impulse, Sigma males allow their emotions to settle before responding. This simple discipline grants them a rare psychological advantage: clarity. Because of this, a Sigma rarely says or does anything he later regrets. His pause is not emotional suppression. It is emotional intelligence in action. Sigma males understand that the first surge of emotion is almost always the most distorted, shaped by ego, insecurity, or unresolved wounds. By letting that initial wave pass, they create internal distance from the situation. In that space, they step back mentally, observing instead of absorbing, separating fact from assumption and truth from emotional noise. While others react quickly out of pressure, fear, or the need to defend themselves, the Sigma's restraint becomes his silent power. His responses are measured, precise, and grounded. Psychologically, this reflects advanced cognitive regulation. Over time, this habit becomes a defining trait, protecting his peace, sharpening his perception, and preserving his power. Number 4, the talent of social minimalism. Sigma males instinctively distance themselves from unnecessary interactions because they understand a truth most people never pause to consider. Not every connection is meaningful, and not every exchange is worth their energy. While the majority scatter their attention across trivial conversations, The Sigma male follows an inner compass that directs him toward what truly matters. He knows that every word spoken, every emotion shared, and every moment offered carries a cost, and he refuses to spend himself carelessly. This selectiveness is not rooted in arrogance. It comes from clarity and emotional intelligence. Sigma males naturally sense which interactions are genuine and aligned with their purpose, and which are shallow, performative, or draining. So they quietly step away from small talk, forced social circles, and convenience-based relationships. By eliminating what is unnecessary, they protect their peace and deepen the bonds that truly matter. Their presence becomes rare, powerful, and unmistakably impactful because they never waste it. Number 5, the talent of emotional disengagement. Not coldness, precision. That is the distinguishing mark of a truly self-mastered individual, especially the Sigma archetype. People often misunderstand emotional distance as indifference, but what the Sigma practices is something far more intentional, selective engagement. He is not shutting people out, he is shutting chaos out. He is not ignoring his emotions, he is organizing them. This ability to detach from drama without disconnecting from himself is a high form of emotional intelligence. Instead of getting swept into the noise of conflict, he observes it. Instead of reacting instinctively, he responds strategically. Detachment in this sense is not numbness. It is clarity. It is the mental posture that allows him to see what is actually happening beneath the surface. The motives, the patterns, the emotional triggers, and the unnecessary escalation that others fall into. When conflict arises, he does not lose himself in the moment. He does not abandon his values or let anger dictate his behavior. He pauses, mentally stepping back, creating just enough space to think clearly while still remaining present. This inner stillness becomes his shield. It allows him to remain grounded and aware, fully connected to his principles and emotional landscape, yet untouched by the emotional storms others bring. Because of this precision, he can engage without absorbing. He can listen without internalizing. He can disagree without feeling threatened. And most importantly, he can walk away without carrying emotional residue that drains his energy or clouds his judgment. This is why the Sigma rarely burns out. He refuses to fuse his identity with temporary conflict. He knows that peace is not found in controlling others, but in controlling his own inner state. His power comes from this calm separation, this ability to stay involved without becoming entangled, not coldness, precision, and that is what keeps him unbreakable. Number 6, the talent of authentic influence. Though they avoid the spotlight, their calm confidence naturally influences others. People adjust their tone, behavior, and energy around a Sigma without realizing why. It is not because he demands respect, nor because he forces his presence into the room. Rather, it is the quiet way he carries himself, measured, grounded, and internally stable, that subtly shifts the atmosphere. A Sigma male does not speak to dominate, he speaks to understand. He does not move to impress, he moves with intention. And this lack of performance is precisely what makes others recalibrate themselves in his presence. Most people are used to navigating social environments filled with noise, ego battles, insecurities, and attention-seeking behavior. But when someone enters who is not participating in that unspoken competition, the dynamic changes. A Sigma's calm detachment disrupts the usual scripts. People naturally lower their voices, choose their words more carefully, and become more aware of their own behavior. Without realizing it, they mirror his tone, his pace, and even his emotional restraint. Psychologically, this is a response to perceived stability. Humans instinctively adjust to those who radiate certainty. And certainty is exactly what the Sigma embodies, not loud, aggressive certainty, but quiet self-trust. His energy signals that he is not a threat, yet he cannot be manipulated. Not seeking approval makes him strangely compelling. Not needing dominance makes him unexpectedly influential. In conversations, his silence carries more weight than most people's speeches. His presence feels like a pause button in a world addicted to constant reaction. People don't simply see him, they sense him. And this sensing leads them to behave differently, more respectfully, more thoughtfully, and often more honestly. The Sigma does not chase, influence, but through his centered presence he creates it, naturally, effortlessly, and without ever stepping into the spotlight. Number 7, the talent of independent learning. Sigma males are, at their core, self-taught architects of their own evolution. They don't sit around waiting for someone to hand them a roadmap or validate their direction. Instead, they approach knowledge like a craftsman approaches raw material, patiently, intentionally, and with a deep respect for what it can become once shaped by their own hands. Their education is not born from external expectation, but from inner curiosity, the kind that pushes them to understand how the world works and why people behave the way they do. While many rely on teachers, mentors, or institutions to tell them what to learn, Sigma males break away from this dependency. They understand that when you wait for permission to grow, you place your future in someone else's control. This is why they study life directly, observing details others overlook, questioning assumptions others accept, and testing ideas through personal experience rather than blind belief. Their curiosity is continuous, not occasional. When something captures their attention, they follow it until they understand it deeply. They dive into books, observe human behavior, examine their mistakes, and use solitude as a classroom. Every environment becomes a source of insight. This self-guided learning makes them remarkably adaptable. Where others freeze in unfamiliar situations, Sigma males stay composed. They trust their ability to learn whatever skill or mindset the moment requires. Their confidence is quiet, rooted not in pride but in proof, the proof of every challenge they've learned their way through. Ultimately, Sigma males don't just gather knowledge, they transform it. What they study becomes practice, what they practice becomes discipline, and that discipline shapes the very core of who they are. They walk through life as self-created men, guided by curiosity, strengthened by independence, and defined by relentless self-mastery. Number 8, the talent of psychological resilience. They recover from setbacks with a kind of quiet strength that most people never notice, until the results speak for themselves. When life hits them hard, they don't broadcast their pain or seek an audience for their struggles. They don't look for validation, applause, or sympathy. Instead, they instinctively withdraw into their own internal sanctuary, a place where they can think clearly and feel without noise or pressure. In that solitude, they reflect deeply. They study what went wrong, what it revealed, and what it requires of them next. They don't label the setback as failure, but as information, data that can be reinterpreted, reorganized, and transformed into strategy. This reflective pause becomes their recalibration period, where they quietly reconnect with their purpose, strengthen their mindset, and refine their approach. And when they return, they are not the same. They emerge sharper, wiser, and more focused than before. Their growth is not loud, but undeniable. People may not see the inner battle, but they will notice the improvement. clearer judgment, stronger boundaries, and a renewed sense of direction. This quiet resilience is their superpower, the ability to evolve in silence and reappear as a stronger version of themselves every single time. Number 9, the talent of purposeful silence. Their silence is never empty. It is a living space, full of thinking, observing, processing, and choosing with precision. While most people rush to fill the air with noise, the Sigma's quiet is deliberate. It is his way of gathering information without announcing his presence, of understanding the world before allowing the world to understand him. In that silence, he studies motives, patterns, and hidden truths. He notices what others overlook, the shift in someone's tone, the tension behind a smile, the meaning between the lines. He processes every detail carefully, not to judge, but to discern what is real and what deserves his energy. This intentional quiet is what gives his voice such weight when he finally speaks. A Sigma's words are not impulsive reactions. They are distilled conclusions. They come from a place of clarity, internal order, and emotional intelligence. So when he opens his mouth, people listen, not because he demands attention, but because he has earned it through the discipline of restraint. His silence is not withdrawal, it is strength. It is the space where wisdom forms, where truth sharpens, and where decisions are made with calm conviction. And that is why every word he speaks matters. Number 10, the talent of strategic disengagement. Sigma males know when to walk away from arguments, environments, or people, and they do so with a level of emotional maturity that sets them apart. They understand that not every battle deserves their energy, and not every situation requires their involvement. Instead of reacting impulsively or trying to force an outcome, the Sigma male observes, evaluates, and then chooses the path that aligns with his long-term growth. This is not avoidance. It is discernment. He recognizes the subtle signs that something has run its course, conversations that drain instead of inspire, environments that stifle rather than elevate, or relationships that no longer support mutual respect. When these signals appear, he doesn't cling out of fear or pride. He steps back with calm clarity, knowing that staying would cost him more than leaving ever could. For the Sigma male, walking away is not a weakness. It is a strategic act of self-preservation. It allows him to guard his peace, protect his purpose, and redirect his focus toward what truly matters. This quiet detachment becomes one of his greatest strengths. While others chase validation or argue endlessly to prove a point, the Sigma male simply moves on, confident that his path requires no explanation and no unnecessary resistance.